a video about the PlayStation 5 Pro and its specs being, leaked, and wonder was people was interested. And for the most part, people are just shrugging their shoulders. And I got some, other feedback from some friends of mine, and most people just shrugging their shoulders. They're not really caring about it. And after I do certain videos, I go and look at other people's takes, and I ran across BlackB0nd's video. If you don't know who BlackB0nd is, I mean, he's a part of the Weapon Wheel podcast. Great guys over there. Shout out to BG. Jack Move has been on this channel before. Me and him did a back and forth, a Q&A one time. Really cool dudes. I've been on the Weapon Wheel podcast myself a couple times. Great place to be when it goes to talking about games, in my opinion. Nevertheless, came across this BlackB0nd video about the PlayStation 5 Pro seems redundant and pointless. And he made a really good point later in the video that a lot of people are not necessarily, thinking about. And it's something that I always kept in the back of my mind when it came to software and actually pushing out consoles. And one thing I actually felt about when it came to the Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro, those consoles still have not been pushed to their limits. Now we're talking about two more consoles later with the PS5 and the PS5 Pro, possibly, with that coming out. Are these consoles actually going to be able to be pushed out to their max? Now, BlackB0nd made a point that I think that holds up. It holds a lot of weight. And I'm going to play it, and I'm going to react to it. I've listened to it a couple times, and I'm just going to give you my thoughts and opinions on it. So shout out to BlackB0nd. Hopefully, I'm pretty sure he doesn't mind, anyone using his content. He does not one of those types to be flagging people or whatever. So I'm going to talk about what he said around the 757, 758 mark. So let's get right into it.
I mean, we are at a time where game development budgets and the time to make a game is absolutely staggering and absolutely insane. So a solution to this issue of games taking longer and games being too demanding to make and games being pushed graphically to a point where they take long and they're expensive is, I don't know, let's make a machine to make that even a bigger issue.
Yeah, exactly. And this is one of the issues that I've had with the PlayStation 5 as of right now. Not even talking about the Pro, just talking about the PlayStation 5 is like, none of these games are pushing the limits of this console. So why are we getting a Pro? I mean, if this is going to be the case, I'm kind of leaning towards that, just building another PC or just buying a pre-built PC, because there's no, I'm not going to spend that much money on a console, even though I really want the console. I've already been on record saying that I want to buy it, and I'm probably going to buy it, but I'm going to buy it for the tech. But I know I'm not gonna be playing much on it unless if something happens later on down the road. I'd rather just build a PC, to be honest with you. So yeah, it's gonna make it harder to max out the next console.
Let's make a machine to push more expensive games. Let's make a machine to push higher budgets of games. Like, none of this makes sense.
And he's right. It doesn't make sense. Like, it don't make sense when you already have a bigger budget, and it's like, you already have big budgets now, and you're going to make bigger budgets making these newer games. It's probably going to be pushing games to the limit. And I'm like, I'm a person that likes tech. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not one of these guys that'll fall over and just buy anything, but I do like what the PS5 Pro can possibly bring to the table. So I'm more likely I am going to buy it. But it's like, with this point that he said, should I buy it at this point? I don't know. It's just, to me, like I said, building another PC is absolutely on the table at this point. I mean, this is why I like to listen to other people's content at times, especially after I've made my thoughts, so I can get a different perspective, and maybe somebody could put something out there to change my mind or just, give me more insight.
And I'm telling you right now, if the new Switch comes out with some kind of power that can run games like the Final Fantasy Remake, Rebirth, the Tekkens, the Street Fighters, if they put out a machine that can run a plethora of all these games that are coming out, because I think graphical fidelity is going to be slowing down because budgets are going up.
Yep.
Budgets are going up, development times are going up, so the demands for graphics and everything, to me, that's going to go down.
Yep.
And if Nintendo puts out a system that is competitive, that can get some of these games, well, you can kiss Japan goodbye, Sony.
No, let me tell you something. He said Sony could kiss Japan goodbye. Listen, I've been on record to saying this, and I talked about this probably the last time when I was on Weapon Wheel, or even Weapon Wheel After Dark. Me and Blandrew was talking about this. Like, yeah, I like the Switch. At the time I wasn't a big fan of it, but I understand what the Switch was doing. But if they make a console, I firmly believe this. If they can make a console, especially at this point, what BlackB0nd just said, and if they make a console to the point where they can run these games, these top of the line games on top of their first party stuff, they could run the industry. And I firmly believe that. I mean, look at what the Switch has done already with what they have already with the Switch. Now, mind you, these other games that are lackluster because the lack of power of the Switch, if they make a console that can run these games, it's a wrap for these other companies. I've been saying it for the longest. So yeah, absolutely. So this is the point that I'm talking about that people aren't aware of. Like the PS5 Pro is a problem because of the huge budgets. Nintendo, if they could get these games to run, they don't have to be like super duper, graphical, prowess. They don't have to be nothing really huge. The games just need to run properly. They just need to run with, a proper frame rate and just proper, it just have to run proper basically. If they could do that, it could be a real serious problem, not just for Sony in Japan or just any of these other companies, to be quite honest.
And as far as all the other territories and regions, Sony will be coming for, I'm sorry, Nintendo will be coming for Sony's market share.
Right, I just
and
said
that's
that.
not a prediction. It's going to be a fact. They've already booted Sony out of Japan. They've already outselling them in America. They're already outselling them in Europe. And if they get a machine that's powerful enough to run these games, and if they want to do a dock like an Ally ROG, like I've been stating they should do, Sony's in trouble.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I've said a while back, and I still stand by that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not against any of these consoles. To me, I can care less. I have pretty much all of them except for the Series X, which, there's no reason to get one because if you have a PC. But I do believe like I would buy a PlayStation 5 Pro. I will do that. But when you have these different perspectives, it makes you think a little bit like, yeah, is it really ideal? No, I'm probably going to end up getting one anyway. I mean, that's just what it is because there are just some things that's on the PS5 Pro that will probably do a little bit better than PS5, I hope. But it's just that I love technology and I feel like if I really, really want it, I'm going to get it. But there's no mistake. At this point, I am getting to the point where I really just want to build like this monster PC or buy a pre-built PC, probably spend maybe anywhere between $3,000 to $5,000 on that PC and just rock out for the next 10, maybe, 10 or 11 years with this generation. Because I don't see graphics pushing up to the point where we're going to need like the highest the graphics card or the highest CPU. I don't see that happening at this point because of the big budget games I have in this problem. So that's where I really feel about that. But when it comes to these consoles, I'm on like I said, I'm on record with the PS5 Pro. I don't mind buying it because of the tech. I do, but it's just, for me, it's just, BlackB0nd honestly made a point that, it does, makes not much sense to buy one. And definitely the Nintendo thing that he said, that's the big point that I'm taking away from this. Like, it's not just the, it's not just the lack of games that support the hardware, is that you're not making any sense when it comes to it. Because even though I may want the PlayStation 5 Pro, it probably could become a paperweight like I felt the Xbox Series X was, or even the Xbox Series S was when I did buy the S. I felt like I had no need for it. So I just, I ramped up my PC and I play games, on the Microsoft Store now. I mean, it is what it is. I still have my Xbox One X, which is, right here. You can't see it, but I just don't see no reason to get a series. That's just me, but I can ramble all day. I don't want to keep rambling. Shout out to BlackB0nd, shout out to Weapon Wheel Podcast. That is something that, not many people will probably take away from this video that he made. I think it was an excellent point. And at the end of the day, it is what it is. Spend your money wisely, spend it how you want to. but you have to understand what you're getting into when you purchase certain products. And the PS5 Pro, I know what I'm getting into, but at the end of the day, will it really be valuable once that time comes? Just something to think about. All right, y'all, I'm gonna get out of here. Y'all take it easy. I'm out. Peace.